All right, we are on day 3 of our tips to success, and we are going to be talking about income. Income is a really critical part about your business. I think a lot of people aren't honest with the fact that if they're making income or not. Sometimes we try to treat a hobby like a business, but it doesn't turn into an income, and sometimes we treat a business like a hobby and we don't work hard enough. I think there's just a lot of things that people aren't honest with themselves in just what things are. So we want to talk about income because we want to be profitable in our business. You want to make income because there's so many things you can do for your family. You can give, you can get out of debt, you can go on that dream vacation paid for, you can give, to the widow or your next door neighbor who needs a hand up. All of those things are really based around income. So today our tip number 3 is talking about income in regards to passive income and residual. So Matt's going to kind of talk about the difference between the two because there is a big difference.
Okay, so there is a difference between passive and residual income, and we don't really want to mix and intertwine the two. With residual income, that's the kind of income that you're getting when we're going back to that example of selling our eggs. So every day we're collecting those eggs, we're washing them, we're putting them in their cartons, we're making the phone calls to make sure that we have people lined up to come out to the farm and get those eggs. We're getting paid for those eggs. After we get paid for those eggs, we figure out what our costs are to feed those chickens, to take care of the chicken coop and those things. And then what's left over is the residual income that's coming in from selling eggs, or you're selling those crocheted items that you're making in your home, or whatever kind of product or service that you're selling. You have after all the bills are paid and after all that, you have that residual income, and that's the money that you take and do whatever you want with. So in this case, with what we've talked about for the example, with just gathering the eggs and just selling the eggs, we've created only a residual income with that. We have to work every single day to make that income come in. So what Bethany and I really want to now kind of go into and talk about, and this gets we'll give a lot more examples and information on this when we get to the creativity side, but we really want you to think past just gathering those eggs and all the work that goes into that, because if you want to get more income, you're going to have to get loads more chickens, and then it's going to take a lot more work to clean all those eggs, to fill those cartons, and it's just there's a lot more infrastructure that needs to happen in order to do that. But what we want you to think about is keep the egg business going that you have with those 50 chickens that we talked about yesterday, and keep that just that couple $100 coming in a month through that. But now maybe you're going to start a blog on those chickens, and you're going to post every single day on how you're taking care of those chickens, what you do to keep those chickens in shape and keep them laying, and you're going to start giving out the information that you've had from just years and years of raising these chickens, and you're going to give out your experience, and you're going to gain followers through that. You can do it, through online, through a blog, or YouTube through a vlog. There's just a lot of avenues in the day and age that we live in that you're able to get your information out to people, and you probably have a lot of really valuable information because you've had a lot of experience. So eventually you get a lot of followers, you start posting some ads and things like that, and then you get income off of that. So another thing with gaining followers and gaining people outside of your direct circle of friends and the people that are buying, that couple dozen eggs every day from you, that creates a community. And so you might think about writing a book on how you are able to make your own layer feed, and you realize that the layer feed that you make is better than anybody else's layer feed, and you don't necessarily want to just make this feed for the masses and start selling feed, but you just realize that with what you have there, the recipe that you have is different from the other feeds that you can just go down to the farm and country store and buy. And it's really a lot better, and you want to share that with other people. So you take that recipe, you turn it into a little book or a little pamphlet that people can buy. You put it just online, so they buy basically the rights to have it. They print it off for themselves. And so that would be residual income at first. You had to put in quite a bit of effort to get that recipe made. You had to put in the effort with the blog and with all the things that you're doing to create the community to come and be able to see your product. But then it turns into passive income when you're selling that book, but you've already made the book. You're not doing anything more to it. You just have it online where people can click and buy, and you receive the money. And so there's no more work involved with the book, really. It's just on there and ready to buy, and people can have it. Now you're still doing the blogging, the vlogging, and you're obviously still raising and selling your chicken eggs. So that it's just a way to kind of broaden your scope of, for one, customers. You're creating that community, and then people are able to then have a part of what you're doing by buying this ebook. They're able to get a little bit of your experience, and really the only work input that you have directly for that product is you took the time, you created the book well, and you put it in a way that people are able to easily access it, buy it. You get paid, and you created and did the work one time. So that's your passive income. And if at all possible, just see how is there any way with what if I'm cleaning houses, and maybe that's your service, you're cleaning your neighbor's house, instead of getting 100 more houses to clean to try to up your income, maybe you're creating a vlog, maybe you're reviewing different products that work and don't work, and you're just sharing that knowledge. That can go a long way, and people are wanting that, and people are willing to pay for that. So I highly recommend trying to think of a way that you can take what your residual income is, and you can make a product one time and then turn that into a passive income, and that can be such a great way to get that income rolling without adding just a lot more chickens, a lot more work to your daily routine and setup.
I think where I noticed, if you know our story a little bit, when we moved back from Montana to South Dakota, we transitioned, and I worked full-time from home, and my husband Matt stayed home. And so we homeschooled, and we kind of did life together while I was out in the tiny house doing work. And where I noticed a really big shift in my business was in about year one, towards the end of year one. And I started noticing my income was going up pretty exponentially while my expenses didn't really go up. And I think that's where and my time didn't necessarily go up. So that's where you start to notice that shift. You're busting tail for that first, you're just doing the hustle. You're working long hours, or you're doing a lot of time, energy, maybe a lot of money right away. But then when you can kind of see that kind of flip, that's when you start noticing, man, I made money overnight because somebody bought that ebook. I made money overnight because the people that I recruited or the people I hired are now working on my behalf. And so I'm able to pay them a phenomenal wage, but then I get a cut when they're working. So like his example of houseworking, instead of cleaning 50 houses a month to increase your revenue, your income. How about hire people and you're going to pay them $20 an hour, but you're going to charge the client $25 an hour. And so you're making $5 an hour when you're not even working at that point.
Yeah.
And so you're not having to do the extra time, the extra grit, but you're kind of, that's where I saw the ball kind of flip, I guess.
Yeah, that's excellent. So, it's, even in a little side business, be looking for ways that you can eventually get to the point where you're creating a passive income, and so that you can keep on, having the best chicken eggs there is, and it's not just the chicken eggs, but it's the best product possible, and you're always putting out a great product, and you're keeping the people happy. They're at the top, and so it's all about the people, and any extra service that you're able to provide for your customer, that's just going to make a much happier community around you. And when you make a bigger community with the internet, it's just really endless what you can do. So you got to have different streams of revenue. So something to keep in mind is we don't want to keep all our eggs in one basket. Thanks for watching.